Hello everybody, my name is Tiffany. I'm the Tipsy Artist, and we are going live today with our beautiful monogram wreath. So I have my trace already done here, and then I've got a model. So this is a small model of this beautiful painting. And then of course I also have a really big one too. So this is what we do at our live parties. Yay! Okay. All right, and of course we have templates and painting packs to go with this, so let's talk about that a little bit as well. So what I've used to go ahead and do all this to make it super fun and easy is I've got this guy right here, which gives me that perfect little loop right there in the center. And then I've got your choice of custom letter that you can use. And then I've got a little pack of roses and leaves too, so that comes with your template pack. And then of course it comes with canvas, brushes, paint, all that good stuff. That's all at tipsyartist.com. Okay, so I have used a Sharpie here with all mine. I encourage you to use a pencil first to go ahead and get it all lined out. And then if you want to, it is optional, I like to do a Sharpie next and then firm it all up with a Sharpie so that I have those lines. And I've got my roses in place here, a few little pretty leaves. I did use a ruler for the shiplap design that's happening here in the background. So that is also optional. You can just do a solid color through there if you want. I am keeping it pretty neutral today, and I've got some just really pretty light gray to mix up first. So let's go ahead and get a big brush here. I've got my Big Daddy brush today, and I've got a little bit of white ready to go. A lot of white, and then just a teeny tiny touch of the black. So I'm going to go ahead and take that brush, just barely dip into the black paint there. Push that through my white, and then that will give me a really pretty light gray color. Very pretty. Again, just very, very light. So a lot of white, teeny tiny amount of the black. And then I'll go ahead and just sweep this through my canvas. Just like that. Just getting that first coat of that light gray. And then I'll also touch into a little bit of white here too, just tiny amounts of white. Push that through. And I like to be a little bit sloppy with this first part coming through the background. It just makes the process more therapeutic, and by that I mean I don't worry too much about the cut-in all around the roses, because my Sharpie will bleed through and I'll still be able to see that, and then it just makes for a much more enjoyable painting process. So again, I'll just do a light, soft fade. Once I start to reach those roses, I'll go ahead and ease up on the pressure, but I'll just kind of paint right into those. That way all my background gets done. And again, for beginners especially, this makes it a lot easier. So again, just light sweeping horizontal strokes, and just kind of push into those roses. And our first layer of paint over the top of all the roses is just one solid color, so you don't have to worry about that either. So no worries, all happiness, very easy. All right, so I just keep pushing in this light gray, and again, just light horizontal strokes. And then remember to come into a little bit of that white too, kind of push that in every now and again. That creates a nice little highlight into the light gray. So very pretty, and just take this all the way across. Real light strokes here. I'm leaving the inside just a pure white, and my canvas is actually already painted in primed white to begin with, so I'm going to let that work for me. So that's also, again, we want to keep it as easy and just very relaxing. That's part of the process here. A big part of the process with us is to make sure that you are eliminating stress out of your life. So keep it happy, keep it easy. So as much as we can do to help you with that process, give you little cheating techniques, if you will, we like to do that as much as possible. I'm just coming back in with a few more of these little white highlights. And then I think we'll go ahead and call that done. All right, now also I want to make sure and tell you that in the center here, I did go ahead and do my black in advance. That's just a lot of patient work where you just have to work into the black. And you can actually do this with a Sharpie or a paint pen, which is highly recommended. It keeps it a lot tidier, and again, all about easy on that. So that's what we did there. And you can also, if you do want to come in with just paint, you certainly can do that too. Just make sure and keep your brush really small. In the kit, we give you a little buddy brush here, and then a little bit brush. And hi, Gary. So we can use this with black paint to go ahead and work into the circle and into the letter. And then when you do that, just make sure you hold it just like a pencil, and that gives you a lot more precision and control when you work into those smaller shapes. All right, so let's see here. We're gonna go ahead and start to work into our roses now. This will set up and dry pretty quickly since it's just a really light coat over the surface area. And with our roses, we've got lots of really pretty colors that we can start to work in. So let's see here. I want to make sure I've got my red loaded up. I'm going to do a little bit more orange because we'll work in some pretty corals. I've also got a really pretty purple. If it hasn't dried on me, I may have to get more of that. And a gold and a little bit of white here. All right, I'm going to be pulling in my Mama brush. All right, so here's my Mama brush, and I'm going to mix a little bit of this beautiful vibrant red, and then also a little bit of the white paint. So I'll start with the base here, and let's see, let's go ahead and do this big rose right here. And our base on this will just be some light pinks, and even though we're getting a little bit of that darkness of the red, creating some differences in color, that's actually a desired effect. I'll just let that work for me. And again, just go ahead and paint all this in one flat color over the surface. So our roses at first will look a lot like big, lumpy circles. And that is okay, because we're gonna put beautiful pattern on over the top. And they're going to be gorgeous here in just a little bit. All right, so beautiful pink here. And then let's have fun with some more colors. We'll get creative. I'll add a little bit of orange to this. And that kind of makes it, pulls it to more of a coral shade. So I'll do this over here on the side. So a little bit more of that peachy. And as I place this down, I personally like to just go with some symmetry. That way I don't have to think too much about it. So for example, what I mean by that is I did pink, and then I just did pink just opposite of that. That way I'll have a nice color composition and balance. And then I'll do the same thing here. I'll put a little coral, and I'll do a little bit of coral on this side. And again, just remember to get really good coverage over the surface. So it does look a little bit odd at this point. Again, just looks like big, bright, colorful, lumpy circles, but that's okay. We promise we're gonna make this beautiful. This is just the first layer. All right. Next up, we will do some beautiful purple with some white, and that will make a really lovely, like a lavender shade. And I needed to go ahead and rinse off my brush a little bit, start fresh, because the orange and the purple do not play very well together. So I've got a little bit of this white and a little bit of the purple. So I'll do one here. Go and color all that in. And then here, I'll just kind of go across this diagonal balance. And go ahead and fill that in. And then on these two sides, I'll do a light, really pretty cream color. So again, rinsing out the brush, drying it off fully. I don't want any excess water in the brush. That creates water runs. Those are not fun. They actually erase through paint, so we want to be real careful with that. Always make sure you dry off your brush really well after you wash it. All right, so now I'm mixing up a little bit of this white paint with a gold. That gives me a really pretty light cream color. And I'll go ahead and fill into this rose here. And then this one here. Again, getting a nice balance and a diagonal composition this time. Kind of mixes it up nicely. Alright, so now we have all of the foundational work done with our beautiful roses. Now we're going to go ahead and come in with our pattern work over the top. So this will really make them very lovely. Alright, I want to make sure and get more white happening, because white will be my very first step. Ooh, let's see, with my pattern. And I will come in with a little bit brush and just white paint. And then I'm going to go ahead and sweep this in little like half circles around the shape of the rose. Just keep pushing that around. Again, little half circles. Alright, and then again, same thing over here on this side. White's going to be our very first step. And I do kind of wiggle my hand just a little bit with this. Again, little half circles. Kind of pushing that in around this shape. That's my first layer of this very kind of organic abstracted petal formation. Oh, thank you. Hi, Rolinda. You know, I'm not sure where you're at, if you're at home, but I was talking to Joe about your internet issue. We have internet at the front of our studio, so you need to just come to downtown Guthrie and hang out with us and a little closer. Just let me know. All right, now we've got little white coming in around. Howdy! Hello from the UK. That is awesome. Greetings from Guthrie, Oklahoma. I love that. That's awesome. All right, so we've got our white coming in around this too. Again, just little half circles. It was always my mission to teach people all over the world how to paint. And we're doing it! Yay! And hello, and Shawnee! All right, now we're going to come in over the top with our lavender. A little bit of white there too. Again, white is just a wonderful first pattern for all of these little roses. Works well. The only time I don't do white is if I'm doing a crimson rose. Thank you so much. Let's see. Yeah, if I do a crimson rose, then I come in more with the black. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. I'm wondering what time it is in the UK. Maybe you can let me know. Because I know we have a little bit of a time difference. Like maybe you're a night owl and you're up in the middle of the night. Which, that was me last night. Oh my gosh, I could not sleep. All right, so we're still sweeping in a lot of this white. Little half circles, and kind of wiggle your hand just a little bit too. Because the petal pattern is definitely kind of irregular. Nothing too precise about it. Why not white on crimson? Basically, it goes to darker shadows only. And so I typically will work in just a black over the top. And then I'll work in 2 different layers of pattern. I'll do black, and then I'll do a deeper shade of the red. So I'll mix black with red to make a deeper shade of red. And then I will do black in the same way that I'm almost pushing down this white here. I'll do black. Well, actually, let me take that back. Okay. I actually need to teach one of these in another class. I do mostly crimson, teeny tiny amount of black pattern over the top. You want to be really minimal with your black on that. All right, so now we have all this beautiful white pattern overlay first, and thank you so much. So now I will come in with darker color next. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome today. Yeah, I like this painting too. This is one of my favorites, and I needed to see lots of pretty color today. Makes me feel good. All right, I am going to come in. I got to get a little bit of some violet here. I need to come in with the darkest shade. All right, so have my little bit brush again, nice and clean, and I did dry it off so I don't have excess water in there. I'm going to push into the purple, just like that. And on this lavender rose, I'll make a little spot. So there's my little spot right there, right in the center, a little bit of a shadow. And then I'll go ahead and push this around the circle of the rose. Love it. All right, and then a little spot there. When I push it down, I kind of just push into a little curve and then lift off with a light hand. And then I just do a few of these little half circles, and again, kind of wiggle your brush a little bit as you do this. And then make sure it's very random and kind of push it around in little half circles. All right, so that's our beautiful lavender and purple roses. Next up, I'll do some of the darker shades on the pink rose. So again, I had to wash off my brush, dry it off really well. Hello, hello, we have so many wonderful people on here today. Ooh, my red's a little bit dry. Oops. I let it sit out too long. All right, so here we go. I've got some wet red. It's a little bit more smooth and flexible. Spreads around a lot more easily here now that it's fresh out of the tube here. So I've got fresh bright red, and then I will go ahead and push here, little circle right in the middle. That's my little shadow, and then I'll sweep on those little half circles. And again, kind of wiggle your hand just a little bit. And I'm usually not as liberal with the application with the darker shades. I'm a little bit more minimal with that. I apply a lot more white and then just a little bit of the accent with the darker shades. Because it just really takes over quite a bit. So just a little bit goes a long way. All right, so we've got our red on there. And then I need a darker shade here on the peachy roses. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of this orange and the red. Mix both those together. That will give me a darkness of color that is still in good relationship to what I have going on here with the peach. So again, a little tiny circle right in the middle there. Kind of do that little push, lift off with a light hand. And then kind of spread this on get that nice soft blend into the white and just little half circles over the top. And again, there's that little circle right in the middle. And then tiny little half circles that come around. And if you get too much of the dark, you can also come back in with a little bit of the white. Kind of work that back in. All right, and now we have our fun, beautiful creamy roses. And I actually need some fresh color on that. Let's see here, I've got some gold. And I will take a clean, dry, just barely moist, little bit brush. And let's go ahead and push into some just dark gold color. See, and it's got really good contrast already. So I just didn't add any white to it this time. Do a little push, lift off with a light hand, and then just kind of take this all the way around. And sometimes too, what I do is I kind of lay the brush just gently on the side. That gives me a light, gentle hand. And again, remember to kind of wiggle out your brush a little bit. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is just what I needed today. What if we could get the whole world to paint? We could be a calmer, gentler nation, I think. Yeah, let's try to do that. And again on this one, let's go ahead and push in our little bit of white too. A little bit more. All right, we have beautiful roses now. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to do some beautiful green now. And I like to do a mix of some like turquoise and seafoam, and then also just the really pretty spring green. Okay, so I've got on my plate ready to go here, I've got some blue, some cobalt blue, some beautiful green, and some white. So I'll start to mix up a little bit of this on my plate. I've got my green and my white. That will make just a really pretty spring green. So I'll show you what this looks like. And I'm still using my little bit brush. Kind of take it down for a curvy little stem. And we do have little leaves in your little leaf pack. But if you're just freehanding, you want to think of it like making little parentheses and another parentheses, and then take it to a nice fine point. Audrey popped on from Enid, Oklahoma. We have people from all over the world watching today. All right, so this is our beautiful spring green. And then I'm going to show you what a really pretty turquoise will look like too. So we add just a little bit of the blue to that. And then that brings us to a really pretty turquoise color. I'm sure you can see that. And then if your brush gets a little bit full, which it will if the paint fills it up and makes the bristles kind of spread out, sometimes you'll have to come back in and do a little twist. Kind of twist that back out to a fine point. That will help you get more detail. And then you can actually come back over the top of this light green with a little bit more of that turquoise accent. That is one way. Or you can just do solid shades of just the light green, or you can keep it all turquoise too. So for example, if you just want to start dark and just go turquoise into these little leaves here. You can do that too. Or you can do little highlights over the top. Kind of taking this in reverse. So I'll push into white and a little bit of that green, get that light mint green, and then maybe do like a little highlight over the top. Just kind of lightly drag the brush over the surface. So I'm going to keep going with this process. And my brush is pretty thick right now. It's becoming a wee bit challenging to get into the really small areas that I want to get into. So I actually have another little bit brush here that's just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to push into this one, give it a nice little twist. I think you can see how that one's a lot smaller. Yeah, I want to make sure y'all can see that. And so this will help me make the tinier little stems, little details, and then especially kind of pulling it out to that little fine point here at the end. This helps a lot. Yeah, I'm liking this. And then you can also, I've got a little bit, it's just kind of happening on accident. Some of this pure cobalt blue is kind of mixing into this, but it's creating a nice little accent of darker color, accentuating the leaves. And I'm liking that. So I'll add a little bit more of that here. So I'll do kind of a soft little push and then just lightly pull the brush. And then just keep taking this all the way around. Just add little filler here and there with these pretty little leaves. Another leaf that you can do too, I'll show you here in a second, that's a bit more kind of childlike and simple. I can add some of these around the shapes too. This one is a bit more curvy and organic, and then I have to kind of pull it to a point. But you can also do really simple, tiny little leaves. As soon as I get done with this last one here with my sketch, let me show you a tiny little leaf that you can do. So with this one I make that little parentheses and another little parentheses. So I'm going to do one right here. So again, tiny little parentheses and tiny little parentheses, and just fill that in. Those connect and just fill it in. So that's another option, cute little baby leaves. And since I have those up there, I don't want this rose to be lonely. So I'm going to balance that out and do one here at the base. Get that nice little twist here to get my brush back into a point. And then I'll just do, again, little parentheses and little parentheses, fill that in. And then again. All right, so there we go. We have all of our beautiful little leaves now. Okay. Next up, we need to define our shiplap that we have. Now, there's a couple different things you can do here. What I recommend for beginners, this is just the easiest thing, is to wait for this to all completely set up and dry, and then you can come back in with a Sharpie if you want to, and just take a ruler again and firm up those lines again that are peeking through. That's really easy. If you want to paint it on, you certainly can. Again, much easier to have it all completely dry. That way you can use the ruler as your guide and run your brush all the way across. You just want to make sure that between each stroke you completely dry off your brush so that that wet black paint doesn't mark up another area, because that will run through your designs. You don't want that to happen. So those are little techniques that you can do. Or if you feel confident enough, you can actually just work right in over the top of these lines here. I actually prefer using a mama brush for this because she's got a nice long line. It actually makes it easier to do longer lines across the surface. So again, nice dry brush. I'll go ahead and push back and forth into this black paint. If you want to make it a little bit more subtle, you can add just a tiny amount of white to that. That'll give you a nice, pretty charcoal color. So very subtle there again, just mostly black, tiny amount of white, gives you a dark charcoal. And you want to press it out, firm pressure, as you're loading up the brush with paint. Make sure you have that nice thin line edge, which I do, and then I'll just go ahead and then just follow along here so I can still see my line peeking through, because that Sharpie bleeds through, which is nice. And remember that this is old shiplap, so it's very weathered and worn, and there's no perfection on this. So if you happen to have a little bit of a shaky hand and you get a little bit of a wiggle in there, you can always come back into it with a little bit of white, or you can just let it go and it can actually be kind of a happy little accident for you. So it can look, just like a worn spot on the wood. And then these get pretty tiny in here, so I'll go ahead and use a smaller brush. So I've got my little buddy here. I'm going to go ahead and press back and forth here into this paint. And then just make that teeny little line right in through there. All right, and then I just missed, I'm missing a few little leaves here. As I kind of pull back and look at it a little bit, sometimes I go, uh-oh, I missed a spot. All right, so I'm going to push into a little bit more of this turquoise color. Blue, green, and white. And I've got a little leaf I forgot right there. And let's do that right there too. All right. Starting to look very full and complete. There is also an optional step that you can do. It's up to you. On this one here, I'm going to leave this one without the dots so you have an idea of what that looks like. And then on this one here, I'm going to move this over. This is what I did the other day. I want to make sure y'all can see that. So this has the dot technique. So I'm going to teach you how to do the dots. And I use the handle of the brush for this. And then I will just push into black paint. Here I go, just pushing in there. And then you can see that on the end. And then I just press straight forward, right over the top. And that's how I did this. I just took this all the way around that area. And that's how I did all those little dots. So that's kind of a fun little look too. But if that's a little bit too busy for you, and you like the look of more of this simplicity here, which some people do, then that's also another option for you. So both look really great. So you can kind of see both of those. Yeah, they're both really awesome, very pretty. This one's just a little bit more minimal, and then this one has a little bit more going on. Yay, lots of people from Enid here today too. Hello Kim, how are you? And I apologize if I don't say hi to everybody. I can't see everybody, but hello everybody and welcome. All right, so we just finished with this beautiful painting, and then let me talk to you about the signature. So of course you can paint it on if you want to. Some of our purists, they love to just really authentically paint it on. If you do that, I recommend using the smallest brush that you've got and doing that little twist into the paint, and see how tiny the end can get. That's very helpful. Or I personally love a Sharpie to sign. It just makes it so easy. Here's the one thing that is really crucial. You have to make sure that your canvas is dry, or it'll immediately ruin your Sharpie. So that's important, because we don't want to ruin our Sharpies. We want them to have a lovely long life. So mine's all nice and dry here, so I'm going to go ahead and sign with this very lovely little delicate signature, which makes it's very easy to do a light delicate signature with our Sharpie, so it gives you a lot more control. And then of course if you have a black background and you need something over the top, I will tend to use like a silver metallic or a gold metallic Sharpie, which is also really lovely over the top. So those are, you know, great little techniques you can do. Again, keeping it very simple, very easy. All right, so we are done with our beautiful painting. Yes, oh, thank you so much. Yay, yeah. We, as we, navigate back into this new time of social distance classes, we are doing a lot more shows out here. We have a lot of room to spread out, and so we're doing that here. And then we're also doing a lot more shows in Ringwood at the Indian Creek Village Winery. So check those out, because he has a lot of outdoor space, so it gives people the option to sit outdoors as well. So as much as possible, we want to keep people safe and healthy and well and happy and painting and creative and all that wonderful stuff. So yes, so we will be painting again Thursday. I do not remember what I'm painting because I paint so much, but please check our event calendar. We have that on our website, and then also on Facebook on our events, so you can see what we're painting there. And of course we have templates to go with everything, tipsyartist.com. So we'll definitely be back Thursday at noon. We'll be painting again, and we're also doing a lot on YouTube as well. Check back there as well. And then also, come see us on the weekend here in Guthrie, Oklahoma, or up near Enid at Ringwood, Indian Creek Village Winery. Yeah, we look forward to seeing y'all. So actually this Friday we have a show at Indian Creek Village Winery. So yeah, check that out. That's going to be fun. And yeah, so I think that's it for today. But thank you so much for joining me. Y'all have a beautiful rest of the day.